Oh my gosh. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Vulnerability Time, episode three. First off, I am just so grateful and belated thank y'all so much for y'all support. I will not stop thanking y'all, so get prepared. As well as the special guests, I will not stop thanking them. Thank y'all so much for, just being vulnerable to share your stories and your journeys. Speaking Ooh, sorry, y'all. I'm burping. Callie, I'm burping. Speaking of special guests, we have a special guest, Queen Callie. Callie, hey,
Hello.
Queen, tell us a little bit about you. I know you just moved to a different state, right?
Yes, I'm from Texas. I
Mm.
graduated from PT school this year, so first time being done with school in my life.
So, what's PT school for?
Oh, sorry, physical therapy.
Oh,
Yes.
fabulous.
So entering into my first big girl job, wanted to leave Texas, kind of explore something different, love
Yeah.
nature. So somehow ended up in San Clemente, California, and working as a
Nice.
physical therapist here. I work with kids and adults, mostly like high school athletes for the adults, and then
Yeah.
children. Hmm.
That's pretty interesting and ironic because I'm sure you've heard there's a lot of Californians going to Texas.
Yes,
So I think it's pretty ironic and cool that
it makes
you're
sense. I'm here and I'm like paying the bills, and I'm like, yeah, I can see why. But I think Texas, again, is a great family and friendly place. You save a lot of
yes, love it.
money, but I don't have a family there. So I'm
Right.
just trying to spend, if I'm going to have any time in my life to spend a little bit more for the experience,
Yes.
now is the time. So,
Yes, because we can get money back, we cannot get time back.
yes,
We
yes,
cannot get time back. Oh my goodness. Well, thanks, Queen. So,
first.
before we get into our topics of can we ever find love, loneliness, and belonging, I do want to know though, like, what got you interested in the physical therapist route?
Ooh,
Ooh,
I have always wanted to do overseas missions.
shut
So
up.
yes, but I didn't want to fundraise. I just struggled to ask people for money, and
Mhm.
so I wanted to pick a
Same.
career that I can use. So I feel like teaching English or the healthcare field is like the top two, like easiest ways to like be accepted by countries. I mean, they always
Yeah.
need more healthcare workers. So
Yes.
kind of started exploring the path in high school. Thought I wanted to be a nurse at first. So I was in hospitals working as a certified nurse aide, and then decided that nursing wasn't for me.
Right.
And then my instructor, it's like a high school course.
Mhm.
My instructor was like, "Hey, why don't you follow this physical therapist around?" And so followed a physical therapist around. I didn't love it at first, but I didn't mind it either. I was kind of
Right,
like, "Oh,
right.
they move, they do this. Like, I mean, I'm fine with it. Like, it's better than nursing for me. Nursing's a great
Yeah.
job. I just, it's not
Right,
my
right. Just
yes." So I was
right.
like, I can see myself doing this more. So and I'm a planner, so like I plan my have my 10-year plan. So
Mhm.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna choose this path. It had great hours. If I wanted to raise a family one day, I can be able
Yeah.
to work
Mm.
and be there for my kids.
Mm.
If I stayed in the States, it pays like it's stable, pays decent.
Right.
And then I can go overseas with it if I wanted to. So
Yeah.
went around this route, and then I feel like I fell in love with my career the more I like learned about it throughout the years.
Right.
So yeah.
I love that. You
Mhm.
gave it a try, and
Yeah,
you'll never know until you know. So yeah,
exactly.
nursing wasn't for you. Not for me either, trust. Ooh. Yeah, definitely not for me. Um, because I'm not about to read all those textbooks and then see people die. I just can't do it. Um,
Mhm.
yes. Okay. So, is there a specific country that you want to go to most?
Not really. I That part has been undecided. I've always been more interested in like the eastern side.
Hmm.
So East Asia, Southeast Asia, around there, but I am open to wherever God
Yeah.
calls me. Hopefully I do have that figured out in the next couple of years. My plan is to stay in the States at least for like 5+ years just
Hmm.
to become a good PT. Because if I
Yeah.
do go to the eastern side of the world, physical therapy is just not a developed field there. So I most
Right.
likely will be the like one of the few PTs there. So I want to be
Right. Right.
confident in what I do. It's only fair to my patients. And yeah, learn from the people here.
Yes. So you mentioned earlier that you don't have family here. Did you mean in Texas or did you mean just in the States in general?
I my parents and my brothers are all in Texas, but most of my extended family is in China.
That
And then I
is
have no
so
family in
cool.
California.
Gotcha, gotcha. So you're
Yeah.
like on your own. Oh yeah. Oh my
I'm on my own
gosh.
here. It's really great. It's forcing me to really figure things out on my own.
Yeah.
You just call dad, who's like, right there.
Right, right. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I'm so proud of you, Queen. You're doing it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, yes. I know in like episode one, we had, because I recorded episode one today, and we were talking about the conversation ended up, being, no one tells us about um, moving out on your own. It's just all glamorized and romanticized, but no one
Mhm.
tells us about the isolation, the loneliness, the struggle that does come along with it and what that actually looks like.
100%. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yes. So with that being said, Queen, speaking of struggle and isolation, I know that is one of our topics is like, the field of loneliness. Um, however, one that I really am excited to talk about is um, the ever finding love part. So, like, what
Mhm.
about that topic? What drew you to that topic? What does that mean to you? What's your story with that?
For me, I think it's a constant fear. I think that most single people have. For me, it
Right.
was always a fear of mine in terms of like I think the first person to or the first like guy to ever show interest or attraction to me at all was probably sophomore year of college.
Yeah.
So up until then, like I just felt like no guy liked me, no guy was attracted to me. And everyone says like, oh, Kelly, like they probably were just scared to tell you, blah, blah, blah. But it's different, like knowing versus not. And so, and like
Right.
when you're little and you're like with your girlfriends and they have girl talk and they go around and they share like all the guys in their lives. They're like, oh, I broke up with this person. Oh, this guy likes me, but I don't like him. Or, oh, this guy, we like each other. Or there was always someone to talk about,
Right.
but then it would get to me and I literally I had no name to
Nothing.
bring up, like zero, nothing to talk about. I would just pass. And after, like not having that for many, many years, you start to wonder like,
Right.
will this ever happen? And I think you get so used to being single and not having someone like you that you can't even like imagine or fathom
Right.
someone ever liking you. It's just like
Right.
a foreign concept in my
Yeah.
mind that like someone
It's an
would.
internalized. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's always been kind of rooted of like, oh, like will someone ever like me? Will a guy ever like me? And then after sophomore year of college, people did start showing interest, but it just never really worked out.
Right.
So you just the fear is still now like I mean there's people showing me
Mhm.
attention now, but the
Yeah.
fear of like it's I think it's still a hard thing for me to picture like something actually
Right.
working out for me where like something is mutual and like you can
That's
actually be
huge.
with that person and like yeah, so
Yeah.
it's hard for me to like imagine that that can like even happen just because it hasn't happened ever. I've never
Right.
dated before in my life.
Right.
So
Right.
I again like it just goes back to how when you haven't ever had it, it's hard to imagine
Yeah.
it happening at all. And then you wonder,
Especially
will it
when
ever happen?
right, exactly. Honestly, I'm like 100% in that boat with, well, let's be bougie. 100% in that yacht with you.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Yes, yes, pinkies up only, pinkies up. Boat who?
Our
Yeah,
single
no,
yacht.
like the first time I even ever dated someone, I've only had one boyfriend in my life. Only
Hmm.
dated one person in my life, and that was the summer of 2020 during the pandemic. And that didn't last long because he was just like using me as like, someone to get over his ex.
Mm.
Uh, his ex-girlfriend and his ex-boyfriend. So, yeah, and but even before that, um, like I'm now 25, and the first time I even got in a relationship was 23 and a half. And it's only been
Hmm.
one, never been anything after or anything before. And it's just like, when we're seeing on TV and on the media and on social media, like it seems like everyone's in a relationship, whether it's just looks good on the outside or or
Yeah.
is it actually good, because people can romanticize things. It's social media, just the highlight
Hmm.
reels, and a lot of goes on behind the smile.
Yeah.
However, still, like even me, like knowing, like still, like it might not be as happy as it seems, or it just might. It still doesn't help. Like it's still
Yeah.
internalized because,
And
like
it
you
sucks
said, we're
that
used to
your
it.
yeah, and it sucks that your first boyfriend, like it wasn't really the love that we all want,
Right,
you know?
right,
And so then again, it goes back to like, will that love ever happen? I remember I
yeah,
used to listen to like love songs.
hmm,
There's like this one song called Speechless by
yeah,
Dan and Shay, and you like listen to that song, and it's about this like guy like admiring his like girl walking down with like her wedding dress, and he's just like in awe. And I was like, this is not realistic. Like, does this
right.
ever like, is this real? Like, do guys actually? And so it's almost like it was too good to be true. And like, if it did, like, good for you. But it just seemed like a fairy tale. It just wasn't really
Yeah.
attainable.
Seems like such
Um,
a foreign concept. Like
yeah.
so far from like our truth. That's exactly like what it
Mhm.
feels like. That is, yeah,
It's hard not
seriously
to get
sad.
pessimistic about it. People are like, "Oh, you guys are young. You're
I
only
know.
25.
I'm
You're
just
so
like,
long to
I'm not
find it."
getting
But I think
younger.
it's just like when you've lived your entire life not knowing any better,
Right,
you can't imagine it getting better. Like, you just that
right,
pessimistic mindset can kick in.
right. Exactly. And it's just like what, yeah, and you know, I would say like I would argue this, that sometimes maybe it could be pessimistic, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's just honest. Like the honest reality is we haven't had this before, and it's just like, for example, like I mean, like you just said, we've been told in the past, oh, but you're so young, and now a year later, I'm like, well, did I get younger? Nope. So it's kind of like, I know I'm so young, but like I can only be young for so long, and yeah, it
The years
definitely,
go by, your hope like slowly, slowly dims.
yeah, exactly. And it's just like I've only heard this from people who, have experienced relationships before. It's
Hmm.
like I always hear it from people who are either in a relationship or have experienced many relationships. They're like, oh, you're young, but it's like they have
Yeah.
that security, that look of this is what it looks like to,
Hmm.
have someone. It provides us, it internalizes for them a sense of hope,
Yeah.
that it
Hmm.
does exist. So they have something to look forward to because they have had it. But when you have not
Hmm.
had it before, it's like, what do you look forward to? All we have to lean on is what's shown on the media and the highlight reels,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know? And
Hmm.
with reality TV and stuff like that, and in like talk shows, we're hearing a lot about, this relationship ended badly and this and this, and it's just like I have no other framework other than I don't have experiential framework necessarily. Is that what
Hmm.
you're saying as well? Because
I think I do. My parents like had a healthy marriage that I looked up to, and I do have friends who are in really good, healthy relationships that like love
no,
each
I meant
other.
like just in person, like we've
Oh,
never like you've never,
experienced it.
yeah, like firsthand,
Ah,
firsthand.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I've okay, so I haven't experienced it firsthand until this past summer.
Okay.
That was the first time that like a guy has ever like it's the closest to someone loving me that I've like ever
Right.
known. it didn't work out because of like religious differences and different
Right.
values, things like that. But the
Yeah.
way that he loved me, I look back on the love songs that I like was skeptical about before, and I was like, oh,
Hmm.
like I can see that being real now. Like I think he gave me a glimpse into how like this
Yeah.
love does exist. Like I
Right.
didn't know it really existed until this summer happened. And so I feel like
Right.
I did walk away from that being like, okay, like this love is out there.
Right.
I have experienced it. There are people who love this way. But I think again that mentality will still be there of like, will I ever find love? Because then you
Right.
think, will I ever find this again?
Right.
Like
Yes.
it took
Yeah.
25 years
Yeah.
for me to experience love and being loved.
Right.
Will it take another 25 years for this to happen again? You know, like it's
Exactly.
kind of like that fear of like, yeah, again, it's
Yeah.
a scarcity mindset. It's honestly a scarcity mindset. And that's honestly what drives a lot of people to settle down is the fear of like
Right.
not finding something again or not finding something better or things like
Right. Right, exactly. And that's another thing that, you mentioned. You mentioned the word mutual, and then you mentioned as well, like, religious differences and value sets.
that. Hmm.
That's the thing. Like for me, what an ideal boyfriend. Well, I date for marriage. I don't just date for a fling. That's just not me. No,
Right.
no
Yeah.
judgment to people that, it's just that's just not me.
I just can't handle the heartbreak. Like if you the honest truth is you get married or you break up.
Right, right.
So
Yeah.
I just can't handle heartbreak.
And I like what you said about, like the values and stuff like that. Like I for me, like love, okay? Like and what my values align within that word or whatever, like that concept of love is, like I'm not the type of person where like it's not I know the difference, and I need him to know the difference between love and lust, and how love
Mm,
is going to have to be the foundation, not hook up. Like
yeah.
take sex away from a quote unquote committed relationship, take it away for 2, 3 months and just genuinely get to know the person. I wonder if a lot of these relationships would still last. And
Hmm.
like, also, like, I need my man to know that, you know, respect my boundaries, respect me, respect my values. Like, this is my faith background. This is why, um, this is this is just why I choose to see it like this. These are,
Yeah.
my values, and you're
Yeah.
not a bad person. It's just if you can't respect that or wait on that or love me enough to genuinely just get to know my heart, then I'm sorry, this isn't
Hmm.
gonna work. And
Yeah.
that's the reason what made me say yes to my ex asking me out is because he appreciated and he valued that I don't just give my body to anybody.
Yeah.
He valued that I was a virgin. Like he valued that. And he
Mhm.
didn't force or pressure or anything.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. That's kind of what like I think of when you had mentioned, values and like the religious differences, and it can just be any difference that is just super duper, important and core to someone's values, you
Like
know.
your non-negotiables, essentially.
Right, right. Yeah.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, and I feel like I was reading something today on Instagram, love it, um, of where it was talking about like relationships, and a lot of people don't know the difference between you know lust and love. Like
Hmm.
they're just rooted in like if sex is the foundation, then it
Yeah.
might not last long. Or how we don't really wait to get to know the person. Just in general, we move too
Hmm.
fast, and how we're too busy trying to compare, and we're too busy, wanting to post just the cutest picture on Instagram. That's me. Like, I
Yeah.
realized like a huge want for me, and
Hmm.
this is something I just like admitted to myself all these years, was I just want the cute picture on Instagram,
Mm.
and it's just
Yeah.
like, yeah. And so that post really, it really, seeing that post today really, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's funny
Yeah.
because I'm recording an episode with Callie today and we're going to be talking a little bit
Yeah.
about this. So,
Yeah. The emotional connection and the friendship is very important to you.
yeah. Sorry if I'm looking off to the side. I'm like sitting in front, like I'm in a study room, but I'm sitting in front of the elevator.
Yeah. No, you're
So
good.
if I look
You're
off,
getting
I'm not rolling
distracted.
my eyes, I swear.
Yeah. No,
There's
I didn't
probably
mean
a couple of cute guys coming out the elevator. That's exactly what it is. And I just
that.
had to look because what's wrong with me? But yeah, Queen.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I mean, it's hard for, at least from my experience, it seems hard for folks who don't know what it's like to be single for years and years and years and years and years, to, this just from my experience, to, you know, understand, this fear of never finding it again. Like it goes, at least for me, it goes like, my fear goes beyond just, will I ever like marry the right one? Like mine just goes to, will I even date the right one? Like will I even find this to even be concerned about a marriage eventually?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
kind of like baby steps, right? Like
Hmm.
I tell my friends sometimes too, you know how when you were little, like maybe when you were in middle school or high school and you think about marriage, you're like, "Oh, that's for grown-ups. That's for when I grow up, I'll get
Right.
married." I I still have that same mindset. When I think of marriage, I'm like, "Oh, when I grow up, I will get married, but I
Right.
am grown up." You know, like people
Right.
my age in Texas have houses and are married with their
Yeah.
like second child. And it's crazy. Like we are here and I still feel very, very far from marriage. Again, because it just goes back to how you just can't even imagine it. Like I can't
Right.
even imagine marriage when I can barely even imagine having a boyfriend, like an
Right.
actual boyfriend. Like
Exactly.
that's like I've never been in one and it's just so foreign to me.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to like even imagine. I think it's a little easier for me to imagine after the summer, but still, it was just a summer. It was very, very
Right.
short.
Yeah.
And we
Same.
never actually dated or anything. And so
Right.
it's still very lack of experience
Right.
there.
Right. Right. 1000%. I completely agree. Um, I completely agree. And this is, it's kind of like stigmatized. I feel like to say I need or I want someone. Like this is the thing. Our bodies are not equipped to live in such a modern society. We still have our innate instincts that go back before, we had technology and things like this. Like this is how humans survive, is on a huge factor of why humans survive is because that want for romantic connection, that is instinct. It's instinct to want to, grow, you know, um, within multitude. Does that make
Hmm.
sense? Like we're
Yeah.
not just meant to grow with ourselves. Like, and like when people talk about self-love, oh, you just gotta love yourself. Self-love isn't the answer to everything. It's like just because you love yourself doesn't mean you can't also want, you know,
Yes.
a significant other, because self-love is different, but someone else from the outside loving you, that's also different, and it's like it's both important. That's why,
Yeah.
like, that statement of you got to love yourself before you can love someone else. I i agree with that to an extent. I just don't think that that's everyone's story, just because, you know just like we can be taught how to love by our parents, you know we can be taught how to hate ourselves by others and by our parents. So why can't someone teach us how to love ourselves? So it's
Mhm.
it's kind of very tricky. um
Yeah.
I feel like, but I do agree with that statement. But anyways, like it is normal for for us humans to crave that romantic connection. That's what we need. That's how we
Mhm.
multiplied. That's how we
Yeah.
survived. We couldn't do it on our own. We
Yeah.
couldn't.
There's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
wanting a relationship, wanting, and like you said, like it's innate in us. And I want to say it's not even innate to want a romantic connection. I think the one of the deepest drives even behind the desire for romantic connection is just a connection. I think we
Mm,
just want to feel connected to people. Something that is attractive about a romantic partner is that that person is consistent in your life and that person is like your best friend,
right.
supposedly.
Right.
So I think for me, like you mentioned how you one of the reasons why you would like a significant other is so you can kind of post cute photos on Instagram and whatnot.
Mhm.
Sometimes for me, like I want it for the company or I want it to
Yeah.
relate to my other
I do
friends.
too. I
Mhm.
meant that that was something that I had to like be self-aware and check myself.
Yeah.
Like,
No, yeah.
what is it
It's
that I
not the reason.
really
It's like one, a cute thing. Yeah.
right, yeah, like I don't
Mhm.
want that to be my only reason. Like I need it to not be what
Yeah.
I need is like a person who respects my values,
Hmm.
respects this, respect that. That's what I meant by that is that
Yeah.
for a
And I
long
didn't
time I
think it
had
was
that.
like your only reason. It's definitely
Oh,
it's nice. It's nice to have cute things to post.
yeah.
But yeah, for I think it's for me,
Hmm.
like I'm a huge extrovert, love friendship. The downside of friendship in a non-romantic sense is that people come and go. That's something you learn as you grow,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Friendships will change, especially when your friends get significant others. Like
Yeah.
the moment they get you just know the friendship's changing. Like they have less, you're
Yeah.
no longer a priority. Like that's just the reality of it. It makes sense. Like your significant other is your priority. Who are you gonna spend time with on weekends because you worked all week? Your
Yeah.
significant other. Like whose family are you going to hang out with? Your significant other.
Right.
So they just your priority is just less in other people's lives. And
Yeah.
they honestly, the truth is, and the reality is that people just have less time for you. And your
Right.
friendship is it's not that you're not friends anymore, it's just different. And something that's
Right.
nice about having a boyfriend is that they're your best friends and you guys are each other's priorities.
Right.
And even if you move somewhere else, like that person isn't leaving. That person's there to stay.
Right.
Especially like if you're in marriage, like whatever life change you go through, whatever area you move to, whatever job you leave, like that person is not leaving. That person is staying and going through it with you. Whereas other
Right.
friends, when you move, like you grow a little bit distant because there's
Yeah.
distance, like literal distance. Or when you leave a job, like you just don't see your coworkers as much. Or when they have kids and they get married, they have a family to take
Yeah.
care of and they can't be there for you as much. So I feel like our innate desire, one of the root things is our desire for connection with
Connection.
people. And what's attractive about romantic connection is being someone's priority and the
Yeah.
consistency of
The
it all and
stability,
having
the
a best
yeah.
friend, someone who
Yeah.
cares. I remember like one summer, I was like in a town by myself for a rotation and just lonely, not really having any friends there. And all my friends were long distance.
Hmm.
And people have their own lives. Like they're busy with their own stresses and struggles. I don't expect them to like ask how are you doing or whatever. But I knew that my girlfriends had boyfriends who asked them how their day was
Yeah.
and how are you doing, things like that. And it's just nice to have that, like
And it's
nice to have
nice to
someone
feel
check in.
prioritized.
And be like, how was your day? How was your day? And you
Yeah.
get to tell someone like, this was rough about my day. This was great about my day and things like that. And sometimes it's just with other friends, like you want to be mindful of people's times, people's
Right.
energy and
Right.
not take it all up. And so you can't,
Yeah,
there's just
it's
a
kind of
level of
hard to
like
navigate that.
feeling someone's burden versus not.
Yeah.
And with a boyfriend, it's kind of like this is kind of what's expected a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
We check in with each other, things like that.
Right. And like you said, like I just know that the friendship's about to change when they get a significant other. Like,
100%.
yeah, I'm just
They say it won't change, it changes.
right, right. And I will tell you, like over the years, I've lost, some good friends, some great friends, um, because, their significant other, I was just no longer a priority, and it's like, are you burdened for, trying to reach out, for communicating with them, that, it's kind of hard to like navigate that, because I, it's hard. It's confusing. I would say, like, for me, because I've been hurt by that so many times, that when or if I get a good man, okay, when I get a good man, like, I like to say that I'm going to also prioritize my friends as well, because they were there before, and let's say if things don't work out with that guy, um, I don't want to just ghost my friends and then all of a sudden pop up 4 months later. Hey, I feel like that's not necessarily fair to them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, that's just me. That's just kind of like what I envision. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it's easier said than done, but what do I know? Like,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
relationship that I was in only lasted 2.5 weeks, and I would say it's not a relationship. It was, I would say it's not a relationship. He wanted to just rush things, and I felt pressured, so I was like, sure. But yeah, no, but that's just the thing. Like, I'm like, my friends are there before, the good ones. Like, good friends are there before, you know, they're gonna be there after. Because what if it does not work out with that person? You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? I give all
Mm-hmm.
this time and space and completely forget my friends, and it's like, oh, a year later, the relationship, let's say it doesn't work out, and I'm just like, well, I have nobody, and my friends, they don't like, they wouldn't have to accept me back in their lives. They would have every reason not to, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of like my fear.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, I'm going to, like, and he's gonna have to know I'm gonna prioritize my friends as well,
Mm-hmm.
because at the end of the day, it's not like I have a ring on that finger. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He could leave any moment.
Yeah. And it's not like they and sometimes it's not like like
Right.
it's not that they like actually left you, but it's also more just like you I feel like when you're an adult, a lot of it is friendships with people who are in similar life stages as you.
Mm,
And you just simply have less to relate to when they are entering into a different life stage than you are.
interesting.
And they can't talk to you about what they're going through. And they don't necessarily like, so I feel like sometimes when people have
Mm,
been in a relationship for so long, they forget how it was like to be single. So they don't
mm,
necessarily relate to you as much as you navigate, especially the dating world is constantly changing
yeah.
every year. I feel like people who haven't been in it for a long time, like don't really understand like how it's like to be
Right.
dating in 2022, very soon, 2023.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just a matter of like they may be there for you, but there's just relating to each other is just different and a little
Yeah.
harder. Um, and I feel like the hardest seasons that I've struggled with singleness
Hmm.
is whenever I've felt like one of the few single friends, or like
Hmm.
when all my friends are dating and they're going on double dates together, or
Right.
they're all with their significant others on the
Have you ever been
weekend,
a
and
third
you're like,
wheel?
I have been third wheel many times. I've been
Many
fifth wheel
times.
many times. Sometimes I don't mind it. It really just depends on the couple. Like if they're
Right.
super PDA and super coupley, then I don't want to do it. But some of them are like, I just feel like I'm hanging out with two friends who just
Right.
happen to be dating, and those are great. So
Right.
I really don't mind. It's dependent on the couple. But I think when you see it all around you and you feel lonely in life stage, I've had seasons where like I've just wanted a boyfriend just to join my friends, like just to
Right.
feel connected
Yeah.
with my friends, not necessarily actually for the relationship itself. But then there are seasons where I've loved being single. Like it just
Yes.
no pressure to find a relationship. I'm chilling, I'm thriving. And it's because I have a lot of other single friends who were just having fun together. We're doing things together. And then when they all get boyfriends, then I'm like back to man, it would be
Right.
nice to join them. Like now I got to go
Yeah.
find more single friends. And it's just that pattern of I think just wanting to belong to a group
Oh,
or
there
just
goes that
somebody.
topic word, belonging.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. Like you just want to, you don't
Kelly.
want to feel like you're left behind.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
ultimately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
Even though you're
know,
not left behind. You're going to, I remember when all my friends were getting married and settling down in
yeah,
Texas buying a house, and then I still have not been dating or had a relationship, but I have moved out of Texas and I'm in this new field and meeting new people living in California. It's not that we're getting left behind, we're just doing different things and we're moving
right.
on in different ways.
Mm, I like that you said that. I needed to hear that. Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Because there's a couple friendships that I'm like still hurt by because I'm like, if they didn't have that significant other, we, but I needed to hear that.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like you're moving to the blue square and they're moving to the pink square. It's not
yeah,
necessarily they're moving to step one and you're moving to step
right.
two or yeah,
Yeah.
things like that. Hmm.
Yeah, and it kind of like, I don't know if you feel like this, but for me, like going so long with like, not having that relationship, yada, 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 it makes me feel like, and I don't mean like that relationship, like as, oh, a specific person, no, just like relationship, like romantic relationship, like it makes me feel like maybe there's something wrong with me. Like a
Oh,
lot of
100%.
1000%. Yeah,
Yeah, one of my biggest insecurities that will come back up occasionally once in a while is like whether I'm even attractive to men.
right,
Like I think when you've never known a guy for like 20 plus years, like when you've never known a guy that's been attracted to you or has a crush on you, you start to wonder like, do they find me attractive? And girls will tell me all the time, you're so pretty, like you're so hot, you're so cute. But I'm like, I feel like I'm the pretty to girls, but I'm
hmm,
not the pretty to guys. You know how I feel
right,
like guys and girls might see things differently? Like I feel like I'm attractive. I'm like girl attractive, but I'm not the attractive that guys look for. And
right,
so I don't feel attractive.
hmm,
Um and I don't feel yeah, it's one of those insecurities where and it sucks that like there are times when my friends will over and over again tell me like, "Oh,
mm,
you're pretty, you're beautiful." But it's hard for me to believe it because it's coming from a girl and for some reason I just need to hear it coming from a guy that
hmm.
I'm pretty because
Same, yeah,
I just I wonder like am I attracted to them?
right.
But yeah, that's definitely an insecurity that I think I have to like battle with on and off.
Right.
Coming from
Yes,
that.
on and off, same. Yes,
Mhm.
literally. I mean, I'm tracking with you 100%, 1000%. Yeah, and this is something that's just been like recent in my life. Okay, I don't want to say recent. It's just basically been more annoying and it's just
Mhm.
coming to the forefront. Um, but so what it is like for a while I thought I was ugly. I was like, yeah, no. And then, I started glowing up, you know,
Mhm.
um, and I've always had girls tell me that I'm attractive, and I'm like, thanks, queen, like, girls gotta lift each other up.
Yeah.
The queens. Yes. And so, but men, like, I became attractive to them. However, it's kind of like I was an object. And,
Mm.
I'm like, at first, I always like thought associated that was like, okay, I'm beautiful, I'm attractive, I'm handsome, only because, like, if someone's sexually into you, that must mean that you're like attractive and stuff like that, and that's the thing about like attraction that is defined based off of the eye of the beholder. Like I know
Mhm.
or what society is telling us, because like in our
Yeah.
society there's a different type of attractive body shape than it is in Europe, or in other cultures and
Mhm.
countries,
Mhm. Yeah.
like way back then it was not attractive if you were thin. It was a sign of blah, blah. It was a sign of low income, poor. You know, if you were bigger, you know, that was attractive. It was also a sign of wealth, that, you know, you had a lot of food to eat. And that's interesting. You know, I forgot where the hell I was going with this. But the point is, like, oh yeah, like, are we attractive? Like,
Mhm.
that. I'm like, that must be the reason why, you know, I don't have a good man, because like I'm just not good enough, or something is just wrong with me. And once I quote unquote fix that, or dress up a certain way, it's like, oh no, it's still an object. So maybe I gotta try something else. Like, what do I? Long story short is, I truly think, and I've seen this. I feel like God, the universe, the higher power, you know, whatever folks want to define. For me, it's God. I feel like He has been protecting me a lot. Like, the
Mhm.
rejections or the objectifications were just redirections. Um,
Yes, 100%.
yeah, because I look back and I'm just like, okay, yeah, I'm so glad I'm so glad, you know, I was head over heels for that person, you know, but I'm like, oh, nope, they would have definitely torn me apart, you know, and it's just like, maybe God was seeing something ahead of the
Hmm.
road that I could not see at first.
Hmm.
You know, like 2 miles down the way, he's all like, there's a wreck. There's a huge wreck.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
he showed me that with my ex. He's all like, that's a huge wreck, 18-wheeler, spaceship, all of it. But I chose to keep going. I chose to keep going.
Yeah, you did.
I did. I had to, but you know what? You know what? For the longest, I did not feel like I was loved by God. My ex is the reason why he kickstarted that. So that's what I like. That God never let something happen to me without um, at least bringing some type of good or learned lesson out of it.
Hmm.
And I'm not
Yeah.
saying this cliche because I'm not the type of person of faith who just speaks Christianese or just, oh, God is good.
Hmm.
No, like, I'm very honest with God. Like, there are so many times where I told God, I was like, I don't care what the Bible says. I don't think you're good. Like, you're allowing this to happen in my life. What the hell? What the fuck
Hmm.
is wrong with you, God? Like, this is why people don't
Yeah.
believe in you. Like, I do, like, I get real
Yeah.
honest with him. So, like, when I'm saying this, I, like,
Hmm.
really mean, like, I mean,
Hmm.
honestly, just talking with you about it, it's just bringing up my
Yeah.
gratitude
Hmm.
for the rejections. Now, not all
Yeah.
of them, though. Some of them, I'm just like, that, it's just been like three guys in my life
Hmm.
that I've, you know, that I genuinely saw something, and that they also respected my morals, my values. You know what I mean? Now, I've
Yeah.
had like trillions of guys who just wanted one thing, or they wanted a
Hmm.
relationship, but I had to like give them one thing ASAP, and I told
Yeah.
them no, no. So they
Hmm.
left. And but yeah, there's like three, maybe four. I feel like I'm missing someone, but there's four guys when I'm just like, God, I until the day that you show me that they were like horrible for me, or unless you bring me a reason, a good man in my life that makes me see, okay, it was worth it to go through all that stress, I'm not gonna give him
You still
things.
understand, like, why did it have to happen? Like, why did it have to end? Like,
Exactly, exactly.
yeah, that's
Like,
how I feel 100% with
yeah,
like the person from the summer. Going back to the unattractive part, I think, yes, I think with time, I would say, and I know that I am attractive in my own way, like I have my own
yes,
beauty. I think sometimes I just feel like I'm just not what people are looking for. They just don't
yes.
see it. They just don't see the beauty because they're looking for something else, whether it's a different kind of Asian look, or
Mm,
it's a whole different ethnicity, or a whole different personality. I think sometimes like people have their types. Like that's just the way it is. And I don't blame them for that because I have my types too. And I just think that I'm just not. their type.
Right.
I feel like I'm an Asian who doesn't necessarily fit in the typical categories of like different kinds of Asians. Like I feel like I'm like in the in between, and so a lot of
Mhm.
times it's just like I'm just not what people are attracted to and what people
Right.
look for. But that doesn't make me unattractive. Like I just have to find the person that like sees my beauty
Right.
and sees who I am and sees me.
Right.
And that did happen in the summer. And it was, yeah, like it was a bummer that like he was an atheist and I was Christian. It's just
Right.
two very vastly different like core beliefs.
Right.
And it's one of those things where it's like I can logically, like emotionally, it's just like I can see this working out. Like why can't it
Hmm.
work out? Like the frustration with God and the bitterness towards God of like, it's so good and I waited so long for this. Like, why did you take it away? And
Right.
why do I have to be the one to push it
Right.
away? Because he was down to try, but it's just kind of like logically explaining it, like of what kind of marriage I want versus what kind of marriage he would want. Like, it's just so different. And I just
Right.
knew like the difference in faith would eventually drive us apart.
Right.
And so it's kind of like, it's just better to not hurt each other in that way in the
Right.
future. So it's like logically it all makes sense. It's all there, but emotionally you're very frustrated at God of like,
Exactly.
I could have
Yeah.
lived without this heartbreak. But that's something that I'm learning actually this season, especially Thanksgiving that just passed,
Hmm.
to be thankful for heartbreak. I
Yeah.
think as hard as it is afterwards, like I will always be thankful for experiencing that, like experiencing
Right.
what
The
it's
good
like to
parts.
love and be
Sure.
loved. Yeah, and
Yeah.
like for someone to like now I know like what I deserve and what I
Yeah.
want and what I value. And again, like I've never experienced this before, and I'm thankful that I got to experience it at
Yeah.
least once in my life, like
Yeah.
what it's like to be loved and what it's like to
Right.
love. And it's a as hard and heartbreaking as it is in the end, like that in itself is very beautiful.
Right.
I'm thankful for it. And yeah, a lot of times it's hard to believe God is good. A lot of times it's just the logic behind it all of like,
Right.
okay, it says God is good, God, you are good. I don't see it. It doesn't make any sense. I don't even know if it's gonna happen again. Or like what
Right.
even was the purpose or point of this?
Hmm.
But I
Right.
mean, isn't that what faith is? Is
Right.
like
Right.
when you believe and trust, when you even when you don't see, when you don't understand. And I think as hard as singleness has been the past 25 years, and as much as like sometimes I fear like, will I ever get married or will I ever find someone? Ultimately, there is a peace in me because I know that I am who I am today
Yeah.
because of the experiences I've gone through or the lack of experiences that I've gone through. I think
Ooh, interesting.
I do feel like I'm a relatively healthy place
Hmm.
because I didn't have all this toxic relationships and things I had
Right.
to
Oh,
work
that's a
through. And
good
that is a
point.
blessing in itself. And I
Hmm.
think that I got to work through these sort of insecurities. I got so much time to be comfortable with myself and like
Yeah.
find myself. Whereas there's people who like have been back to back relationships and they don't know how to be with themselves. They don't know who
Right.
they are. And like
Or they're like
God
not
has
truly
given really,
happy.
yeah, he's really
Yeah.
forced me to figure out who
Yeah.
I am. And no one has like, I've been able to live my dream of, moving to a different city and like meeting different people. Like this is what I wanted. And I'm
Right.
here and I am who I am because of that. And so at the end of the day, like, I have this peace that I'm on God's best path for me. And
Yeah.
my friends who are in relationships and who are married or who have kids, like that is their best
Yeah.
for them, but that is not God's best for me. And I only know
Right.
so much. Ultimately, God knows what best for me. And I do
Yeah.
hope and I pray that He lets me see
Right.
how, like how certain experiences or certain things, like I feel like
Right. Yeah.
unnecessary played a part in it. But yeah, and I also, with being single for so long, I've really been able to find purpose in who I am
Yeah.
on my own. Like I feel like one great thing that's come out of the fear of will I ever find love is you kind of prep for not ever finding love. And so
Right.
when I grew up and I like thought, like it's hard for me to ever imagine being in a relationship. It's hard for me to ever imagine finding love and someone to love me. It's probably never going to happen. I'm probably never going to get married. I will never be in a relationship. But yeah, if that happens,
Yeah.
like, who am I?
Right.
Like if I do never get married, if I do never find love, like, who am I? Like,
Right.
by myself. And I think that with that question being in the back of my mind all these years, like, it's really made me figure out, like, who is Callie Sun on her own? Like, if she did never get married, like, does she still have purpose in her life? Like,
Mm,
100%. Like, are you
1000%.
I I
Yes.
am like, I think that, like, we are here in this world still because God has a purpose for us to still live
Right.
out. So if I am not married and I am 40 years old, like, I still have purpose here to
Yes.
complete on my own.
Right.
And that is who I like, that is my mission, that is my identity, and it's
Yeah.
not whether I'm married or not. And
Right.
for me, like, I've really been able to, like, learn and process that of, like,
Yeah.
what is God's mission for me? What do I want to do with my life? Like, what do I want to achieve?
Right.
And I'm at a point where if I get married, that's great,
Great.
and we
Right.
can work out a life together. But if I'm not married as well, that's okay either, because I know I'm still going to do great things for the Lord on my own. And I still have a purpose and a goal in
Right.
life.
And that's awesome. That was a word of encouragement for me. I've been thinking that lately. However, I'm just really inspired to hear someone else say that.
Yeah.
Literally. Also, you know, also lately, and in the times where the seasons of like, oh, I'm glad I'm single, like what?
Mhm.
Like I got this, you know, um, but even now, I'm just like, honestly, God has made me a bad bitch. I'm just like independent. Like I got my
Yeah.
yeah, like I got my ish together. Like I can like if a man does come along and then he leaves, I will be okay because I will already be established. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
just like I'm not gonna need him to add on. Like he can leave and the rent will still get paid. Pretty much.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
like though it's nice to have that add-on of comfort, but like God has been showing me, he's like, Josias, you a bad bitch. I made you to be a bad bitch. I was like,
You are a valuable human being and child of
yes.
God, like, on your own. Like,
I like the word bad bitch. It just makes
you
me
don't need
feel
a
more empowered.
partner to complete you. Like,
Yeah.
you are worthy, you're valuable, and you are going to be an amazing tool used by God,
Yeah.
whether you are dating or not dating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and, like, again, like, if I just and sometimes it's hard for the heart to feel it, but in my mind, I always know that this is where I'm meant to be. So
Right.
if
Deep
not
down, you
having a
know.
boyfriend 25 years was what was meant to be, then, like, that's why it happened. And if I
Right.
still don't have a boyfriend right now, then that's also meant to be. And I'm just better alone right now.
Yeah.
Like, this is where he wants me. This is where he will use me the
Right.
most. This is
And
where I
that's
will
the
achieve my purpose
thing.
here.
That's the thing. Also, like what it's doing. I know we're running out of time, and I want to be respectful of your time, Queen. Is that okay? Are
Oh, you're
are you
good. You're
good
good.
on time? Are
Yeah, I'm
you
good on
good?
time. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. As long as you're good. Yes,
Hmm.
I will say this. Like it has been developing my appreciation for if there is a good man coming in my life. God has been developing a huge appreciation. Like I will take care of that man. Like I will I'm gonna be loyal, you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna be there. We're gonna be interdependent, I got his back, I wanna pray for him. I wanna pray with him. Like I
Hmm.
will take care of his heart, because I'm so appreciative that, I don't want to cheat or do anything like that to destroy what I've waited so long for. Because I feel like if I waited this long and he does come, it's not gonna be something casual.
Yeah.
I feel like there's just something. greater brewing. So yeah, like I mean, I have a lot of people tell me that I am wifey material for a good man, but I am
Hmm.
father material for children. I was like, that's perfect. I was like, that is perfect. Yep.
Versatile man.
Oh no, don't say that. That's an inappropriate. Oh, I'm like you can say that, but it's sorry. I was sorry.
Your mind went there, mine didn't.
Oh, you're calling me out. Oh my God, I was just kidding. I wasn't just kidding, by the way, y'all. My insecurity is I don't want people to think that like because I'm gay, like I slept around. Like, no, I have not.
Oh no, and I don't
No, I know
ever.
you don't.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like males have assumed that about me. You know what I mean? They get shocked
Um,
when I tell them, actually, no. So
yeah.
that's why I'm saying it because I know there's men listening. I don't want them to. I don't have this problem with women. Women just sorry, let me not dig on men. I'm working on it, guys. We're working on my
You're figuring it out,
biases.
yeah. But it's
Yeah,
just what you've
exactly.
come across, the majority of what you come across.
Eh,
Understandable.
Callie's just speaking wisdom all day today. All day today. Callie, well, with that being said, I want to thank you literally from the bottom of my heart. I'm gonna be honest, I'm getting a little emotional. I'm not even
Oh.
gonna lie. Like, seriously, I just. Oh.
Oh, you can reach out to me whenever you feel sad about singleness. I'll hype you
Oh,
up.
you've just been so vulnerable and so inspiring and so impactful. Like, seriously, thank you so much. Like, this platform, it's for healing others. And I often forget, until an episode's recording that, I'm also getting healed. So,
Mhm.
not just thank you for others, thank you for also helping heal me. Seriously, thank you
Yeah,
so much,
you
Queen.
are
And
not alone.
yes. Love that. That was actually the original name for the podcast before season one, but then I
Oh.
changed it, but it was gonna be You Are Not Alone. So that's pretty cool.
That can
But
be the motto. The motto of your podcast is you're not alone.
yeah. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. There you go. But
Mhm. Mhm.
well, is there anything you want to say to our listeners on our podcast? This is your episode, Callie. Is there anything you want to say before we dip out?
Probably I feel like no one can ever promise anyone that they will ever find love, but
Mhm.
if that's an insecurity of yours, again, you are not alone. And whether you find love or not, like you are meaningful.
Yeah.
You have a purpose
Mm,
here, and you are more than what you probably think you are.
yes. That's
And you are right where
beautiful.
you need to be.
Queen Callie. Well, with that being said, folks, if no one has told you today that they love you, please allow me to be the first. I love you and I life you, and I send you with grace, beauty, and prosperity. My tongue
Mhm.
got twisted. Um, you have overcome 100% of your bad days. Why? Because you are still here, you are still breathing. And if
Yes,
the best that you can do today is just get out of bed,
you did
that's
it.
all that you need. Exactly.
We're proud of
If
you.
we're so proud of you. And with that being said, folks, I will see y'all next episode. For episode 4, we'll be talking about the path necessary to heal the mindset and relationship with oneself, and new mindset for seeking romantic relationships with Dr. Tabari. Ugh,
Ooh.
yes. So, with that being said, folks, this has been another episode of Vulnerability Time from your guest and host, Cass, Callie, and Trenton. Oh, nope. Josias is my new legal name.
Hmm.
See y'all next week. Callie, you stay on. I'm just gonna.
Okay, okay.
Okay, let's see. Make sure I do this correctly. Oh, they can still hear me. This is funny. But this is vulnerability time. I'm not gonna edit it. Hey there, if you liked this episode, go ahead and buy my book on Amazon. What the book is called, type it on Amazon. It is Spoken by Trenton Epizon. Epizon is spelled Epizon. I really would appreciate the support. Give it a review. give it a buy, give it a try, and I promise you, you will not be upset at it. It is a poetry book. It is a very easy, quick read, and it definitely will give you some healing and some insight and some wisdom on abuse, mental health, recovery, the tragedy to triumph. You will love it. Give it a buy, give it a try, and recommend the book and this episode with others. Go ahead and give this podcast a follow and share it with others. You could be the reason that someone is alive tomorrow because you decided to share this episode today. This podcast is about saving lives, healing ourselves and others, and encouraging others and ourselves as well. Thank y'all so much for the support. Love y'all. I life y'all. I will see y'all next episode. You are valuable. You are beautiful. You are still on this earth because you have the strength. Thank you. Bye, folks.